Okay, so what you're doing, you have a part. We're creating a drawing file off of this part. Down here, you will see die for me, but you might have done a, but you might see part 1. Okay? If I right click on this, I can see that I'm on create drawing of die or part 1. Well, I can get to those same options if I hover over the shape I highlighted all and I right click the part. If I press create drawing of a die or create drawing of part 1, what it does is it brings me to an option, a screen like this. We are going to select the ANSI A-inch drawing sheet. Okay, that's what we're selecting. ANSI is the style of sheet, A is the size, and inches is the measurement tool, measurement increments. You can select no view or 4 views. They're going to take, we're pretty much doing the same thing. So just for ease of this project, I'm going to select 4 views and say okay. It's going to then load a sheet up here, and I can see that I have 2, 1, 3, and a die up here. Well, if I look at my on shape, it looks perfect. This is great. But we have to add some dimensions and some other symbols to show like center lines and things like that. So where do we start with that? Well, let's start with something easy, and let's right click on the isometric view and change that to show a shaded view. If we show the shaded view, it will show the view like this. It'll actually add a little like what it is in the canvas file. The rest of the stuff, the main stuff, is about annotating. So if I click on the dimension tool, we're annotating here. And we're basically showing, if I'm a machinist, if I got this drawing file, I would be able to create this part. That's the idea. So I'm going to click the dimension tool and follow what I've dimensioned here. So I've dimensioned this whole location to the corner, as well as the overall dimensions of 3 inches for each thing. So here's a wrong way to do it. I've already shown this before, but here's a wrong way. If I want to do the 3 inches here, great, nice. Here's from, if I want to dimension to the center of the hole here, great. And I also want to dimension to the center of that hole, obviously. There we go. Well, what's wrong? You put the right dimensions, but did you put them in the right location? Is that easy to read? What's going on there? That's really jumbled up. That's not what I like. So I'm gonna press exit, or it's basically clicking off the dimensions. That allows me to move these guys around, so I can actually say, you know what? I want this guy to move up, or whatever. Okay, so what I do want is I want 0.75 right here. I do want a dimension to the center of each of those holes, and I want an overall dimension of the cube. So I do want something like that, which does match kind of what you're supposed to create. So how did I do that again? Well, I'll do it on the side now. I'm clicking the dimension tool. I'm dimensioning from the top, for example. Click that once, click the center of the circle, and then click out like this. I'm dimensioning that. I am dimensioning the top to the center of the other circle, for example. And then I am dimensioning from the top to the bottom. So I'm clicking the top and the bottom. And then my third click will be out away from it. Something I've noticed is that all my dimensions are 3 places past the decimal inch, the thousandths, right? We have 10, 100, thousands. Let's change this paper to be only to the hundredths. So where do I go from that to do that? Well, I'm going to unselect the dimension tool. I can press the exit key, or I can right click on, say, exit. And over the top, sorry, not top or bottom, but over on the right side of the screen, there's a wrench. If I hover over my mouse over it, I can see it's drawing properties. Okay, I'm going to click on the drawing properties, and I'm going to change the precision up at the top portion. I'm going to say change that precision under my units and precision. I'm going to change it to 2 places after the decimal, so 0.12, which is showing the 100th place. When I do that, and I can minimize my properties again, I can see that all my values have changed to the hundredths place now, not the thousands. It lets me move these in a little tighter. No problem there. So I have these dimensions here. Let me dimension a couple more things, and then I'll go back to the modeling process, and then I'll answer any questions. So other things that are in the Onshape that you need to dimension are the hole itself. Now, when we created this hole, I didn't use the hole feature. I used and this is one you have to pay attention to, I used the extrusion. So when I click the dimension tool and I click not the center of the hole, I'm going to click the side of the hole and bring it out here. I can see that my dimension here is not enough. It doesn't look like the example here, because the example has, yes, a diameter of 0.63, but also has the depth of 0.125, and then it actually has a TYP next to it. Well, how do we make ours read like that? So if I get off the tool and I highlight this guy, double click on it, I can write in here, I can say, you know what? I want to actually put a symbol. I want to put a through symbol here. And I just want to custom it, go 0.125. And then at the bottom text, I can write TYP. Press enter. Be done. So now it reads a lot more like the option here. It has a diameter of 0.63, has a through of 0.125 TYP. It says the same thing here. Okay. Other things that are on here are a lot of center holes. Well, how do you do a center hole? How do you actually mark it? If I look here, this one's done. I just need to measure these two out. But they have these center holes here. Oh, what's that? Well, like this. You go to your drawing file. I could put a center on each of these circles by just clicking on it like this. But I think more accurately is a center line. If I hover over this 2-point center line and create something like this where I click the 2 sides of it, I'm creating a exit. I don't want that. Again, I'll show an option. I'm just going to create the top of this, click the top of the circle and the bottom of the circle, side of the circle, and the side of the circle. And now I'm creating a center line with all these guys. Whoops. You want to make sure you're in the center, though. If you're not, then it defeats the purpose. So you make sure you're straight across the circles. So it's really looking like a real cat. Okay. So then I would continue on to add annotations the way that it is documented on here. So I need to add the 1.5 and I need to add the chamfer in there. But before I go do that, I'm going to go back